Our next speaker, I am delighted and excited to introduce you to Yemi Faseun, and I'm apologies, Yemi, if I've got your surname incorrect. I'm sure you'll correct me on that. Yemi is going to be talking to us about a subject that is super topical right now, thriving in the midst of uncertainty. Now, my research on Yemi tells me that he is the head of human resources at Globalcom, and he's based in Nigeria. He is, and there's quite a lot of lists here. He's an elected council member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. He's recognised in the top 501 most famous global HR leaders. He is a top 150 global HR influencer. He's one of the top HR thought leaders in Africa. He is one of the top 50 personalities on LinkedIn. He has had the best revenue sales supporting HR. He's a work booth, top 50 career influencer, Tech Times Africa, top 3 Africa HR influencer. Yemi, that is a lot of lists for you to keep track of. We are really excited to hear you speak and talk to us about thriving in the midst of uncertainty. Like I said, so topical across the globe right now. So Yemi, I'm delighted to introduce you. Over to you to talk to us about what you're going to talk to us about today.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for the introduction. Please just confirm to me that you can hear me.
We can hear you. Yep.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
So thank you very much. Okay, so thanks for the introduction. So just a quick slide correction. The surname is Faseun, Yemi Faseun. And thanks for all the things you read out. I'm struggling to keep up as well, but thank you. Let me just go straight into it. Right, thriving in the midst of uncertainty. Interestingly, when I came across this topic, it was very, very interesting to me because I just released the book late last year. And the title of the ebook, which was free and can be downloaded on my website, yemifaseun.com, the title is Thriving in Uncertainty. So it's quite important that I put together my thoughts around the changes around the world between April and end of the year, put them together in that book. And like I said, it's free. But today, what I want to concentrate on within this uncertainty conversation is how COVID-19 really has had implications for the female employees in our organization. We moved from the era of employee satisfaction, we moved to employee engagement, we moved to employee experience. And if you ask me, I think we are in the era now of human experience, because the experience we are looking for from the employee perspective, it's not only the experience that the individual should have at work. It's the total experience of the employee in and out of the organization. And what it means is that we are concerned about the experience of the employee when he or she is working with us in the organization, as well as what happens to the employee when he or she is also outside of the organization. And we all know now that work is where work is. Work is anywhere. We've moved work away from one block of offices down the road to really in my car, to my house, to the pub, to anywhere. So work is where work is. Therefore, the total employee experience is very important. But the concentration of my next couple of minutes is really how this has impacted the female employee experience in the midst of all that has gone on in the last couple of months. And what I'll just drill down on will be delivering on that employee experience given the circumstances we find ourselves now, the lessons we have learned over the last couple of months, and then we'll have we'll share some conclusions around employee experience and the implication for the female employee. So let's go straight into it. Some sort of background to set context to this. In the last 20 years, we've really witnessed some sort of growth, some sort of progress in the place of women in our world of work and what that means for gender equality in the society. I mean, especially from an African perspective, the woman has moved away from the upscale kitchen, stay at home, to what really can we contribute to society either from a corporate perspective or even not-for-profit, right? So the last 20 years has witnessed some progress. International Women's Day, it's been gender equality, it's been together for better, it's been all sorts of things, just telling all the stories why we must have equality, not only within the society, but also especially in the place of work. However, one of the things we've also seen is that there's a risk that diversity and inclusion message or messages is again back on the back burner because of what has happened to us from a disruption perspective. So there has been, over the last 20 years, maybe prior to 2020, a steady progress around the messages and the initiatives, making sure that the society itself is balanced. However, in the last 10 months or 12, 13 months in some parts of the world, what has happened, it's shifting focus to everyone and not just the female employee in the workplace. It's everybody. It's the children. It's mom, it's dad, it's everybody at work. And there's therefore that tendency that D&I might just take a backstage again because of the issues we are dealing with globally. The third thing is employee experience. Like I said, it's no longer within the office environment. We are seeing a situation where we expect employees to bring their total selves to the workplace. So what happens to the employee outside of the workplace is as important from an experience perspective, is as important as what happens within the office. And lastly, why everyone is facing this unprecedented VUCA world, it seems to me, and maybe to some of my colleagues I've spoken with, that women are bearing the brunt of the economic and social fallout of the pandemic, because work is at home, gym is at home, school is at home, everybody's at home, and the woman is still expected, especially in some parts of the world, the woman is still expected to carry out some certain traditional responsibilities. So there is a pressure brought about by the pandemic and the attendance situation on the women currently. And that's a context that I want to set for the conversation. So within that context, how do we then continue to deliver on employee experience, not just for the woman, but for everybody? But like I said, the focus for me is really around our female employees. Top priority for human resources in the last year, especially pre-COVID, was on employee experience. We were already moving along the continuum towards human experience. We were already talking about the future of work for the last 3 to 4 years. We were getting ready for all of that. HR was already remodeling its frameworks, its policies, its governance structures around a new world, a new normal, even before COVID-19. What the pandemic has done is to level the entire world at the same time, and we all became aware of the need to give our employees the best of experiences given what was happening. Work from home became the new normal for many people. At a point in time, I think the entire world was on lockdown and we're still working. So work became wherever work is. And employee experience therefore came to the front burner as a strategic imperative, almost a competitive advantage that companies couldn't afford to miss. It touched every aspect of how we continue to engage the employee, how we continue to connect with the employee, and how we continue to get the best out of the employees. So it became a new normal for us in the new world. And women kind of became a big concern about their workload because work-life balance or work-life integration became highly challenged. Like I said, there's still a place for what the woman should do, take care of the child. I mean, we're not placing the entire burden of the home on the woman, but we know that so many women might have their babies at infancy, and there's still that connection between mother and child, and there's still expected connection between mother and the organization. So work-life balance became, or work-life integration or work-life fluidity became seriously challenged within the society because of the pandemic. And survey also showed us that women feel less supported by management and leadership in the wake of the crisis. rightly or wrongly, but that is the feedback we are getting from surveys. So that's it. Delivery on the employee experience became therefore challenged because of the circumstances around the pandemic. However, we couldn't afford to take our eyes off the ball. We had to still find a way to continually support all employees, and especially our women, given the new realities. So what can we do? What are some of the ideas? What can we do to support more? What can we do for the female employee to feel still connected with the organization, to feel the kind of employee and human experience we're expecting? Some 4-5 things that I think should happen. We need to have a review quickly of our employee benefits. If possible, change them to face the new realities, because what we had prior to the pandemic might not be relevant anymore. It might mean that we need to change some things around our employee benefits because the world of work itself has changed. So 3 things changed. The place of work changed, work itself changed, and the workers changed. To therefore balance out old realities with new policies with new realities, we therefore need to look at our employee benefits. For example, the gym membership. Is that still necessary in today's world? How about online courses for children or mental health counseling? Mental health has become extremely important in our world today because of what is happening, because of the news that we hear every day, what is happening in different parts of the world. Before now, in our environment, it was just about numbers and data and statistics. But I promise you, currently, those numbers are translating quickly to family, friends, and colleagues. So are we still going to stay with policies around benefits that are not relevant, or we need to change? My position, we need to change this quickly. Second thing, communication is extremely important. We need to stay in touch with our employees. We need to stay in touch with our female employees when we feel that they are carrying the brunt of the current realities. Encourage conversations. Continue to have feedback, surveys to ensure that organizational practices do not unwittingly ostracize our female employees. We need to have that consciousness in our mind as we encourage conversations around what should happen within a new place of work. Flexibility is another. We need to have, work, like I said, is where work is. So we need to also understand that we are not managing people from a time perspective anymore. More and more focus from me should be that we are managing people based on deliverables. And we should shape those deliverables around individuals rather than around the entire workforce. Because what works for A might not work for B. I'll give you an instance quickly. Maybe I have a smaller house where it's a 2-bed and I have 3 kids. They are schooling at home. I still need to carve out a place at home for my office, and I am constantly also checking on the kids. I am a single mom and I am managing all of that. So flexibility becomes very, very important. And what it does is to give control back to the female employees, allow them to schedule their deliverables based on the circumstances around them. Like I said, what works for A might not work for B. Policy reviews become important. Let's define them. Let's define them and modify them to make them more relevant to today's reality. So we're not stopping at only the review and change of employee benefits. Let's look at the entire handbook, entire employee handbook, the policies. What is relevant for training today or learning and development? What is relevant the way we recruit today? The entire human resources value chain from the point of entry to the point of exit. If there was a time for us to define and modify those policies, the time is now. So what have we learned? What lessons have we learned? 3 things quickly. Flexible working is the future. Actually, I lied. Flexible working is the now. The future happened yesterday. Flexible working is I have people talking to me from a candidate perspective, trying to get other jobs. And one of the things they put on the table is no longer the salary. It's about, oh, will it offer me flexibility? So flexible working is no longer something to look out for in the future. It's something that is important today. And ultimately, it supports employee engagement and employee well-being. We must quickly become a caring organization. And that is in all its ramifications. A lot has happened, and the care economy is the foundation for the global economy. The leadership, the critical leadership competency for today, if you ask me, is empathy. We're looking for more and more people who will care for the workforce from an empathy perspective, because it will have a positive effect on the employees and ultimately on the organization. Let's rethink how employees interact with each other. The world has totally changed. Interaction is now limited. Life is now online. Everything is either Zoom or Google Meet. We need to rethink how employees still need to interact and retain the connectedness between them, primarily, and then secondarily, the connectedness between employees and the organization. We need to look at how today's realities, especially the virtual realities of our time, will continue to allow our employees to still remain connected. Okay? And for me, in conclusion, this is what I'll just say quickly, that understanding the work experience of different segments of the workforce puts leaders in a position to more effectively address disparities in employee experience. It is no longer a one-size-fits-all. The employee experience between genders is real, thereby making the workplace an engaging one for everyone. If ultimately the employee experience or human experience of each employee in the organization is important to us, then we need to address how the different segments of the workforce therefore continue to remain connected to themselves and then to the organization. That will be the conclusion of my presentation. Thank you very much. If I have any questions right now.
Thank you, Yemi. That was, and I do apologize, I got your surname wrong. That was really, really, really interesting. Actually, a subject that came up maybe an hour or two before when we started this Europe, Middle East and Africa leg of the Inspirathon. Gamil was sharing with us about the dial on diversity and inclusion, and in some ways the dial has gone up in some areas, but particularly around the gender gap, and how women, the dial for them has gone down over the last year. You've just completely reiterated that and then explained in even more detail. So it's great to hear that we're hearing the same things coming out. We're hearing the same research coming out, even if it's not such positive news. It's definitely giving us something to really focus on. Certainly something that resonates with me. I have twin baby boys and I'm homeschooling my 4-year-old boy and I'm running this today, right? So, and let's not talk about the cooking and the laundry and everything else. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. I'm very fortunate to work for inspiring workplaces who are completely flexible, and I make things work around my family comes first, right? What are you doing at Globacom to put in some of these practices around helping the organization to thrive, and particularly around this increasing gender gap that's occurred this year?
So it's a journey. I am not going to sit here and say, oh, we are the best, we are leading in this area. No, that's it. That's the reality. For some organizations, the experience of the future of work came and they were prepared for it. Some were not prepared for it and therefore learning through the process and therefore adjusting and tweaking. I think we are in the learning mode, trying to understand exactly how the impact of all of this has been on our business And we are therefore now taking data and statistics and survey results to try and fashion out what the future will be. So it's been a lot of, we were in a learning phase in the last couple of months, learning phase. So this year we will move gradually into action. Like I said, it's a journey. So I'm not going to say I'm one of the leading organizations out there around this area. No, we are learning through the process and we are sharing with colleagues. Our colleagues are sharing with us. And this year we will see a lot more in terms of action.
Fab, thank you. So hopefully we can bring you back next year, either in this virtual world or hopefully we'll be able to see each other in person one day soon. And we can talk about some of the great strides you've made in helping specifically your organization to thrive and to take the lessons from this year and come out stronger. Great. Yemi, thank you so much for sharing with us and flying the flag. You are in Nigeria, right?
Yes, I am. Lagos, Nigeria.
Flying the flag for Nigeria for us today as part of the Workplace Inspirathon. You know where I am right now. I've not even had my breakfast, and we've already been this morning to Australasia, Asia. We've been around Singapore. We've been to Saudi Arabia, Sweden, and now Nigeria. And we are just about to head to Johannesburg. So thank you so much, Yemi, and we look forward to having you back with us soon.